All
You can kind of adjust the slides like that.
right. Okay. All right. So they don't have this kind of animation, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not.
Because I see the whole thing. So okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Perfect.
Do you want me to take your laptop?
No, I can't. I can't.
Oh yeah.
I have contacts, Elias. And I can't.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'll give you a metaphysical.
Virtual hug. You hug later.
You're all set. We're alive.
All right. So I can start, I guess. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm super happy, as always. I'm super, super happy. So happy to see you all. My name is Marta. I'm from Italy. And I moved here in 2015 and to Las Vegas. And I'm a sociologist of tourism, meaning that I analyze tourism especially under from a sociological perspective. But what I like to say is that I put tourism under the microscope. So I study everything related to tourism, from marketing to social behavior. How do tourists behave? How do workers behave? Everything. We're going to talk a lot about it today. So I'm an assistant professor in the College of Hospitality at UNLV. I just came from class, actually. And I would love to talk to you today about the idea of building the destination. What does it mean to build a destination in tourism, in cultural tourism, starting from the research that we are doing right now in the Historic Westside? But also, I would love for this class to be helpful for you, to find what I call your niche. So let's talk a little bit about that. So first of all, we're talking about cultural tourism. Why? Because with the Tourism Business Igniter here at Nevada Partners, we are focusing around cultural tourism in the historic West Side. We know that the West Side has an amazing story to tell, very important. But at the same time, this idea of cultural tourism is so broad that I can tell you that if I invite here 100 cultural tourism experts and I ask them, what is cultural tourism? You will get 100 different definitions. Okay, so it's really, really complex. So let's see, just to have some notions, what one of the most important organizations in tourism say about cultural tourism, which is UNWTO, the World Tourism Organization. UNWTO, which is the UN agency that works within tourism. That say they just changed their name. So it's not anymore UNWTO, it's UN Tourism. Not a big deal. Everyone still calls it UNWTO. So what is cultural tourism? Cultural tourism, according to UNWTO, is a type of tourism activity in which the visitor's essential motivation is to learn, discover, experience, and consume the intangible and intangible cultural attractions, products in a tourism destination. Let's stop here. Why I like this definition? For two reasons. The first one is because they mention 3 actions by the tourist. So think of a tourist, a potential cultural tourism development in the West Side. We have tourists experiencing, learning, and discovering, which is very important. But also, they talk about tangible and intangible cultural attractions. This topic is very interesting because when we talk about cultural tourism, sometimes we think of tangible elements. For example, if I ask you probably what do you think about cultural tourism destination, some of you might think of Paris, right? The Eiffel Tower, a tangible element, or a museum, paintings in a museum, or a whatever, right? Something tangible. But culture is also intangible, meaning that people travel to experience, not only to see things, but to experience things such as traditions and food and music. So cultural, what UNESCO, which is the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, defines intangible heritage is that set of intangible elements that are part of a culture. So that's very important. And these attractions or products, going back to the definition, relate to a set of distinctive material, intellectual, spiritual, and emotional features of society. So it encompasses everything. It's super important to see how it's such a global phenomenon. Global phenomenon, and also is like includes so many aspects: spiritual, intellectual, material, emotional, everything. And this idea encompasses arts, architecture, historical and cultural heritage, culinary heritage, literature, music, creative industry, and the living culture with their lifestyles, value system, beliefs, and traditions. So really a big, big definition of cultural tourism. It really touches on everything: culture, literature, food, creative industries, art. So we are talking about a pretty big topic. But what we did with the UNLV in the Historic Westside was to interview people. So we asked people in the Westside, thinking about cultural tourism development, what would you like to see in the Westside? Because our goal was to start and to include the voices of the community. So we asked people directly, what is cultural tourism in the Westside for you? And these are some of the main results that we found through our research and interviews. Can you see music on the slide? Okay, perfect. So these are the aspects that the community members highlighted. So for them, cultural tourism in the Westside is music, especially clubs, for example, having jazz clubs, arts, galleries with local artists, food, and I put a star on food because food is the element that everyone mentioned when it comes to cultural tourism. Religion, so the importance of churches in the Historic Westside as part of cultural tourism. So the idea is bring people who visit Las Vegas to the Westside for these purposes, including religion, and the civil rights movement. For example, civil rights tourism is becoming very, very relevant in today's tourism. Absolutely. If you think of the civil rights trails in the South, that's a very important tourism concept. So now that we are thinking about cultural tourism, we have to think about, where do we develop cultural tourism? We develop cultural tourism, can be the West Side, or wherever you want to develop it, in a destination, right? What is a destination? Do you have any ideas of what is a destination? They can get the microphone if they want. How would you define a destination? Yes, we have two people.
I would say the destination would be the purpose of that specific tourism. Like, where would you want that to go as far as, the marketing and the success of it?
Perfect. Absolutely. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. And we have another definition back there.
I would say it would be the ultimate goal behind what you're targeting is, as far as the tourism, like your purpose, your goal, the ultimate reason why you're doing what you do.
Okay. Yes. The objective. And I think we have another definition back there.
Okay, I would say destination also, it's that one dream place that you wish to be at, that one dream place that you always thought about from when you were little, and you just put a goal to yourself and say, I will make it there someday. So then once you get there, that's your happy place. I finally made it. It's something that actually touch you and make you have memories later on in life.
Exactly. Amazing answers. Thank you. So a destination is a place, right? It's a place. In this case, the Historic Westside, but can be whatever. Can be Las Vegas, can be my hometown in Italy, which is called Bergamo, can be whatever. And when I talk with my students, And I tell them, when I talk with my students, I try to make things super easy, right? So when I tell them, what I tell them usually, a destination is a togetherness of attractions, of people working together for the same goal, to build that destination. Now I'm going to give you the nerdy and a little bit boring definition, much more boring than yours. So is a physical space, according again to UNWTO, a physical space with or without administrative and analytical boundaries in which a visitor can spend an overnight. Always remember that a tourist, according to UNWTO, to the World Tourism Organization, a tourist is a person who spent at least one night, so 24 hours, outside of their place of residence. Otherwise, if you just go, I don't know, let's say I go to St. George, Utah, I leave in the morning and I come back in the afternoon, I am what?
A visitor.
No, a visitor. The tourist spends overnight. Excursionist. I'm an excursionist, okay? So yes. So to be a destination, usually I should have some kind, the destination should have some kind of accommodation, okay, a place to stay. And it is a cluster co-location of products and services and of activities and experiences along the tourism value chain and a basic unit of analysis of tourism. Meaning, and I highlight cluster co-location because it's a togetherness of element, okay? To have a destination, I need a restaurant, I need a hotel, I need an ATM, I need politicians who have developed the destination, who makes the policies. I need architects to develop the destination. I need museums maybe, right? And museums curators to create the exhibition. So I need people working together to create that destination. Otherwise, it's a place in a desert with nothing, right? Okay. And a destination incorporates various stakeholders and can network to form larger destinations. Stakeholders is a key word. In tourism destinations, we have several stakeholders. And I'm looking at you, and you have an amazing potential to be one of those stakeholders in that sense, because everyone can contribute. And trust me, all I do is, I'm a pretty boring person. All I do is study tourism. Okay, what do you do in your free time? I study tourism. So, and I've been studying tourism for years. And this is the exercise we're going to do today. We're going to be creative because there are so many things that everyone can contribute to tourism, and everyone can be a tourism stakeholder. We even spoke at some point when the TBI, we got an application from a drone company, right? And we thought, a drone company is not like super connected immediately with tourism, right? Because drones, what can drones do, right? And then we thought, what about taking videos for social media, for promotion? We were mentioning pool parties on the strip and having a drone company making all these videos, these people going crazy. Did you see those parties? They go crazy. I'm not sure I want to be in one of those pools sometimes when I saw those images, but looks fun. But not only. We know about Jackson Avenue and the Harrison House. They can map stuff with architecture. They can map and rebuild. And that. So tourism is a creative process, and everyone can be a tourism stakeholder. So whatever you do, think of your role in that, because a destination is a location that breathes, that is made of people. Okay, so that's fundamental to know. So the key word in this case is something I'm obsessed with, is tourism systems. Tourism system up there. So why? First of all, I can tell you the personal reason why. My master degree in Italy, that I got in Italy, was in planning and management of tourism systems. And for 2 years of master, our professor really wanted us to learn the meaning of systems. What does it mean, system. It means, again, that if I tell you, what do you think if I tell you tourism is a system? What is a system? What do you think is a system? Or an ecosystem too?
Is it a combination of people, process, and tools?
Absolutely, yes.
It's a network of individually operating parts.
Absolutely, yes. Other ideas?
It is when a collective of smaller parts come together to form a bigger overall collective of parts for a greater purpose.
Absolutely, yes. Other definitions? Yes, Suriel?
A system is a system is that something that works already, that you built it, that you don't need to like restart it over. There's a system in place.
Yes, exactly. But all these definitions were great. And first of all, in what I teach, this is why students usually like when I say this, there are no right or wrong answers to my questions, okay? So, but my point is that this system, to exist, to survive, needs to work together. So all the parts you mentioned, they need to work together. Think of a body, right? You need the heart, you need the brain. So if one cell, if one element in this, one stakeholder in the system doesn't work, the entire system doesn't work. And this is very important to think about. So this is why in tourism, we talk about a very basic concept, which I really like though, which are top-down and bottom-up strategies. So too many times, unfortunately, especially in the past, community were told from someone coming from outside, hey, I'm going to build a giant resort in this area. That's it. They weren't asked, what do you think about it? Is it okay to have something close to your house? Sometimes, and I'm talking about places in the global south, I mean, 70s, 80s, 90s, there was a trend of Western resorts, Western companies bringing their people. In fact, Eric Cohen, who is one of the founders of the sociology of tourism, my discipline, talks about tourism when he analyzed the various trends in scholarly literature on tourism as a form of neo-colonialism. And then it happened a lot. Western amenities, Western companies go in the global south and say, okay, we're going to put here this resort. Oh, and we're going to bring our people because they speak the language of our tourists, our workers. The first time I studied sustainable tourism, it was in high school. Then I heard the word sustainable tourism and environment. And the example on the textbook was some villages in Africa who do not have access, people don't have access to water. And they had resorts there with pool and fountains. So that's a bottom-up strategy. That bottom-up, like literally bottom-up, coming from up and saying, we are going to do that to you. Top-down strategies, instead, is the opposite. It's the community getting together and decide, okay, from the bottom up, okay, is the community getting together, okay, say, this is our house. This is our community. We know much more than an outsider what we need and what we want and what is helpful for that. So I have amazing examples that I can tell you of people who got together and they were able to create very interesting community-based strategies like that. I will be a dreamer if I tell you that it's easy. And usually we talk a lot about win-win strategies where sometimes community need an external investor because it's needed. So finding that balance, and I'm very happy that increasingly communities are hiring sociologists and anthropologists to mediate, so people who do my job to mediate between communities and whoever wants to talk with them. So, okay, how can we have outside? This is also what we are talking a lot with Elias, right? Maybe we have investment from outside that can still respect, not colonize, as I told you, the destination, but be helpful for the community and respectful of the community, right? So how can we have that? So that could be an interesting system that works all together. I don't think you will be surprised to know that sometimes when we think of the tourism systems, people talk about hotels, restaurants, gas station transportation, and the community and the people who live there get left out. And increasingly, people will love to say something. This is why with this research that we are doing with the TBI, Clayty White and I are going around interviewing people, because we say, okay, we start from the voices of the people first. I have hours of recordings of what the people want to see here in the West Side in terms of cultural tourism. And then we come here and we tell Elias and we tell the team of the Business Igniter, the Tourism Business Igniter. So starting from those voices, we try to accommodate and to find compromises with what people want. But that's our priority. Okay. So when I talk about this topic, I love to use a framework that is proposed by Sue Beaton, who is the only scholar, I'm sorry, not the only scholar, the scholar, the most famous scholar on film-induced tourism. Film-induced tourism is one of my areas, and one of the reasons I moved to the US. Film-induced tourism is film in movie locations. Like people coming here because they saw The Hangover, right? So tourism in movie locations. So beyond that, she proposed a framework for community planning, talking about film-induced tourism, but it's something you can apply to every single destination. And this is the framework that she proposes. Community planning has to be inclusive and participatory. So it does not only have to include the community, but participatory means the community have to actively participate, okay? Because sometimes we see cases in which a community is passively included, meaning, yes, we told you. We told you we're going to do a project. Now you know. Now the community knows. Okay, and then if the community, so active participation that we're going to see in the end, as I just say. So the idea is this roundtable planning strategy to create economic and social progress for the whole community, the system, remember the whole community, with its active participation, as I was saying. This means having a conversation among institutions, the tourism industry, the local community, and whoever else is needed. Whoever else is needed. So everyone needs to get together and say, okay, we want to build a destination. How? We find a compromise, we find a dialogue. Okay, that's very important to find these kind of strategies. An aspect that I've been investigating lately, and actually I just finished teaching a master course in, the course was Dynamics of Tourism for the College of Hospitality. And I gave my students a book on degrowth. Degrowth is this idea that, and I'm making it very, very easy. My favorite part of that concept is the fact that for too long, okay, so what do you think is the main standard to define if a destination is successful or not? What is the main standard in tourism, in the sector? A destination is successful when? The number of tourists, exactly, meaning more revenue, exactly, more money. Right now, tourism scholars, also through topics, and if you want, we can talk about it in a future lecture on regenerative tourism, which is a topic which I love. Now, tourism scholars are wondering, why are we using money as the only standard to evaluate the success of a destination? Why don't we use, for example, the inclusion of indigenous knowledge in destination instead of money, money, money? Or community satisfaction. Sometimes I show pictures to my students of these horrible skyscrapers on the coast somewhere, horrible architecture monsters ruining the whole landscape. Probably they make a lot of money, but the community is happy there? I don't think so. So why? We don't change our standard. It's a very westernized standard. Making money, can I tell you that making money is not good? No, money is money. And of course, revenue is fundamental, is the beating heart of tourism. But at the same time, the idea is that why we are not evaluating community satisfaction as a standard? Or, as I told you, inclusion of indigenous knowledge. Or number of natural resources depletion because a bunch of plants or animals got killed to build that destination, right? So this idea is in degrowth is about that, because our goal has always been in tourism growth. Growing is good, but what about different directions? So if you're interested about these topics, we can talk more about it. We can have another class on that if you still want me here teaching another class, because if you're not tired of me. So what? Oh yeah, no, so like all these topics, regenerative tourism, I'm writing papers on that, degrowth, all these topics are very interesting. And also, if you're interested, we can talk more about community involvement, all the community, like going really into the community dynamics. So again, going back to Sue Beaton, what she says about collaborative tourism planning. Oh, I'm sorry. It usually happens between two or more groups of stakeholders. I would like to say more. And there is an agreement. Everyone agrees there is an agreement, right? Otherwise, it's not an agreement that must be inclusive of all the relevant parties and interest groups, which is the basis of community planning. So community planning is the basis. So the collaborative tourism planning is the base of every kind of tourism policy, strategy, planning, whatever, okay? So the idea is to build a destination. No, I'm sorry. So the idea is, for example, to talk about the destination, we see that Jackson Street can become a destination. We spoke a lot about it, right? So how can we brand Jackson Street or the Harrison House as an attraction, part of a destination? How can we do that? Stakeholders by themselves alone, they won't go that far. But they just don't work with each other. So it's a community effort, okay, all together. And Jackson Street is an amazing example because it's a street. Jackson Street is a street. It's made of different activities, stakeholders who have to work all together if they want to build a destination. And this idea is, this topic is very interesting because to me, the goal of communities who want to work in tourism is to build together a destination. This means that everyone has to work together. Does it mean that competitors don't exist anymore? Absolutely not. I'm perfectly fine in restaurants competing for who has the best food or the best accommodation in hotels. But it has to be a healthy competition, okay? Where everyone has a common goal. Which is building a destination. Healthy competition is the beating heart of economy, of every economy. But then, when called at the same table to discuss a destination, every restaurant owner get together for the same goal. And then they can compete in the kitchen, or they can compete in the hotel accommodation realm, whatever they have. Okay, so here I usually give an example about my own country, Italy. This okay, yeah. So Italy. All right. So these are the Italian regions. Okay, these are the Italian regions. Italy is divided in regions. Some are famous, some you know, Sicily, Tuscany, right? You probably heard of Lombardy, which is my region. Okay. What? Pompeii, exactly, is in the Campania region. So there is divided in region. What happens? That one of the main problems of Italy is that when they have a tourism fair or a tourism exhibition where destinations go and promote themselves in China, in Germany, all over the world, Italy rarely is able to have a successful Italy booth. No, they have a Sicily booth there, a Tuscany booth there, a Lombardy booth there, and this. Okay, all right. Is that successful? No. And guess what? Guess who usually wins? The dear old Tuscany that everyone knows because they bring good wine to do good wine tasting and food, and they give free wine. And Tuscany, if I say Tuscany, everyone knows it. It's a strong destination. Do you think that someone goes to the booth of a smaller region that no one knows, that doesn't have a known brand? Start thinking of the branding goal. No one goes. So good luck with that. So Tuscany always win. I love Tuscany, but there are lots of equally beautiful regions in Italy. But Tuscany is strong. So the point is that we are trying to do, okay, in Italy is also like a legislative matter, meaning that tourism is legally is a subject that is not at the state level, but every region is responsible for their own tourism activity. So the regulation of tourism happens, is divided by regions. So some advocates for a more centralized. But where do we think we are going to go? Italy. I know everyone knows Italy, Florence, Pompeii, and Venice, but tourism in Italy is not doing that well because this fragmentation is not good. I come from so my hometown is in the Pre-Alps, very close to the Alps in Italy. And we are between two valleys, like with mountains, the Seriana Valley and the Brembana Valley. And it's not a big area. So the goal that my professors at the university in tourism in Italy were doing is, okay, let's get them together and let's build a mountain destination with the two valleys, right? Or there is another one, two or three valleys, a ski destination, right? We have beautiful. They said, no, I'm not gonna sit at the table with my competitor. Good luck promoting yourself with lack of funds alone. So compete as much as you want on the best ski resort. I don't care. But when it comes to promote a destination, go together. You know what I mean? And that can be applied to every sector, okay? I don't know your sector. You can tell me later. I want to know. But that's the point. That's exactly the point. I'm sorry. There is no way. Another big enemy of all of this is hurry. You don't know how many times I hear destinations who tell me, oh, we are so, I'm a small town. We are such a beautiful small town. It's so bad that no one knows us. How can we do that? Sometimes they call me as a consultant. How can we do basically overnight to have thousands of tourists coming here? And I'm like, do you have parking for your residents? No. Do you have public transportation? No. Fix the stuff for the residents, fix the stuff for the community, then we can think about tourism. Every destination is beautiful, right? Every destination is beautiful in the US, in Italy. Every destination has every place has a story, has something to tell. But you need this bottom-up. You have to have a resilient community. What I say about this top-down or band-aid approaches that just bring tourists without respecting the community, I always make this example. As if I go to the doctor because I have a bad nose infection, and the doctor gives me aesthetic surgery. So I go out with a beautiful nose, which are all the tourists, but inside my nose has an infection. So outside is beautiful, but inside is, is not that great. So let's cure, do you know what I mean? Let's think of the community first. And then let's go on building the destination. For example, think of the Strip. Think if the Strip is a great destination. Think if for F1, the Bellagio said, yes, okay, F1 can pass in front of my resort, and Caesar's Palace say no. How can you do that? Everyone needs to work together with the same objective. It's a stupid and simple example, but if you see the Strip, and we see that also in the prices increase. When one start charging for parking, everyone does that. So we see that also in the cases that we don't like, right? So think if the Strip wouldn't be the Strip if they didn't have healthy competition, if they didn't work together. Okay. So another example that I want to mention is the example of Ornica in Italy, in my hometown. So Ornica is a small town, crazily small village, I would say on top of a mountain, in one of those valleys that I told you. Suffered from a bunch of people, young people moving away to go. It was too far, it was isolated, so people moved to the city, right? So all that was left was a bunch of empty houses and a bunch of retired women living there. By the way, the best examples of bottom-up approaches that I saw start from women. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. No, I'm not really sorry, but that's the truth. You know what happened? This group of retired women said, you know what? We are in this small town with a bunch of empty houses. We are going to create what it's called the spread hotel, the horizontal hotel. We're going to have a centralized house in the middle of the town. And then tourists come here. We're going to take care of cleaning those houses. We're going to cook for them. And people can come here, which is a beautiful place in the mountains, and they can stay in that empty house. And so they got all together, everyone managing one or two houses, and you can go there and stay in a house, and it's sort of like staying in a hotel, in a bed and breakfast. And it's called the spread hotels. So that's a very good idea in terms, see, you don't need a crazy Strip investment to do something like that. And I see, for example, in Africa, women are coming up with amazing ideas, women who can do arts and craft to sell, to create businesses, right? I'm working with an amazing, it's called STTA, Sustainable Travel and Tourism. It was Africa, now is Africa, so STTA, Sustainable Travel and Tourism, was Agenda before, and now is Africa. They are based in Kenya. And I think his name was Paul Olola. He was this expert, these scholars from Kenya. He was talking about small businesses in Kenya who want to work with within tourism, getting all together. And that power could compete with big corporations. But only if they get together, because the amount of capital that is required. So in that way, when you want to do that, you cannot waste time fighting because no, I'm not gonna sit with my, you know what I mean, my competitor. No, you sit with your competitor at the table, fight on who has the best food, not about the destination, because really you can compete with big corporations if you have the capital or getting all together. All right. So another example that I can give you is the idea that is another case study. So I moved to Los Angeles. I moved to the US because I was interested in the city of Los Angeles, which became my case study for my master's thesis. In particular, I focused on the neighborhood of Highland Park. I don't know if you're familiar with that. 70% Hispanic community. And I went there around almost 15 years ago. Highland Park was a neighborhood that was considered very dangerous at some point, very dangerous. But slowly, I arrived in a moment in which the community got together. And they started having art galleries and theaters and museums and activities for kids, activities for free books for kids, and they were building parks. So I arrived in a moment in which really the community was I know a bunch of people, and I also used to live there. So people working 9 to 5, coming home, getting change, and helping a house so that it could be revitalized for new residents there, right? So everyone was, or working in a park, like building literally with their hands a park for the community, for the kids, because there is lots of kids are dropping school, unfortunately. So that was the goal. Interestingly enough, that was my case study. I wrote my master's thesis on that. It was very interesting, and they were doing great. Really, the neighborhood was changing face completely through all this culture and activities. Then I go back to Italy, and then I come back after a year. I say, wow, the neighborhood has changed. Well, they improved it. It got improved so much. That improvement was so good that people from Hollywood started becoming interested in that area. And my friend, the hairstylist, and other people with a beauty salon got told, within a week, your rent is 3 times, or you go out. And they had to go out. And now they have Hollywood labels there with houses, with office there, kick out a bunch of people. They went with cash in their hands, buy the houses of people because they could. So every time I go there, I don't even recognize it. I love Highland Park, and it still has a great potential, and I know I love a bunch of activities, but unfortunately, it became one of the highest, most famous gentrification cases in the US. Is every other day is on the newspaper, and it's famous US-wide as a gentrified place. So this is what we don't want to have. But then, of course, there was not really a dialogue between every stakeholders. It was a very complex situation. I tried to summarize it in 3 minutes, but it was very hard. Bunch of dynamics, political, institutional. There was a part on discrimination, you know what I mean? So it's not that easy, but yeah, so this is what we want to avoid. Okay. Now, from the idea of building the destination, I would love to be a little bit more practical here and give you some tools. So one of my main areas of study lately is the concept of niche tourism. Why? Because I think that, first of all, it's very important. And it's very interesting from a sustainability and community-based perspective. But what is very interesting to me is that I keep seeing, and this is something I love to do, I keep seeing ideas, very interesting ideas that are born from a niche. Meaning niche tourism is that kind of tourism that is very niche. So, for example, I wrote a book chapter. If you want, I can share it with you. Do you know the Prosecco wine? Prosecco, the Italian Prosecco. Okay, my family is from that area. So the Prosecco, they have the Prosecco route there, the wine, the road, they have tours. In the Veneto region, they have the Prosecco, close to Venice, the Prosecco area. So I wrote, for the handbook of niche tourism, I wrote a paper, a chapter on wine tourism as a niche. As a niche, meaning not that many tourists, but quality tourists who really love that topic, wine tourism. And this helps also with environmental sustainability, because what we hear right now is constantly over tourism. I mean, did you see the images from Venice? It's crazy. Barcelona, people, I have friends who cannot leave their houses for how many tourists. They open the door and there are tourists who they cannot leave or they're waiting to exit their garage and they don't know how to go out of the garage. Okay, think living in a place like that. Yes.
Is it Venice literally sinking because there's just too much over tourism?
Venice is sinking. No one really knows, but for sure that amount of tourists is not helping. And they also have an entrance ticket right now in Venice. So if you want to go to Venice, you pay for one day, you pay $5. which I don't think that is that much. It's not going to stop anyone. I don't care. Someone coming from the US going to Venice. So it's a little bit of a weird dynamic. But yes, they're talking about Venice sinking and the fact that there are too many people there. We can talk more about, yes.
So when you say that Venice is sinking, can you expand on that a little bit more?
Okay, I'm not an expert in geology or whatever, but yeah, Venice is going. They say that one day Venice will disappear under the sea.
Oh, like it's
Literally.
physically sinking.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What Venice is, like the history of Venice?
Venice, do you know that Venice is an artificial island? Was built by the people, basically. So it's artificial island is built on the trunks of the trees from the Alps that now became like hard as rock. So it's built on all these trunks. And if you go in the Laguna, which is the tourist part that everyone knows, it's basically like an island. It is an island, artificial, that is connected to the mainland via the Freedom Bridge, the Ponte della Libertà. They have the trains and they have the cars. And in Venice, there are no cars.
Wow.
So when you arrive in Venice, you can take the bridge, you can drive on the bridge, but then you park your car. There are no cars in Venice. No cars in Venice. And being an island, being very small, having all those tourists is becoming a serious problem. We can talk more about that if we have a class on community. Some people even define it as a ghost town, meaning that what do you think people do? You have a house, you're living in Venice, you own a house. You cannot live there anymore because your life is centered around tourists. The price of the bread, of the food is super high because you have tourist prices. So what do you do?
Move.
You leave, and what do you do though with your house?
Sell it. You
Or
sell it?
Rented
Airbnb. So this is why the finance ghost town is becoming, the residents are becoming the tourists. So how can we avoid that? That would be interesting. So over-tourism is a big problem. This is why I think thinking about, for example, niche tourism is exactly this, quality over quantity. And I think this is what we want in the West Side, right? Very few people who are very interested in this history, okay? Very few people, not very few people, absolutely, but not the crazy numbers of tourism. There is also like a concept which is carrying capacity, that is a formula that establishes how many tourists can a destination have, basically, to the point that the resources are available for everyone. So there are some boring stuff, but beyond that, that's the point, right? Niche, I think, so niche tourism is important because of two aspects. First of all, I would love for all of you to think of what can be your niche to operate in tourism. And trust me, you can tell me whatever, and I'm sure that I can find a connection with tourism. Okay, you can tell me that you do well. You can tell me that you want to build umbrellas, and I will find the connection with tourism. Trust me, tourism is such a big sector. Whatever you want, if you don't have any ideas, I'll come up with that. The second thing that is very interesting is that when I started studying tourism so many years ago, there was a typical class on tourism motivations. Why do people travel? Yes, and they were divided. They were divided in categories, right? Cultural tourism, so okay, museums, art, whatever. Food tourism, okay, people who travel to want to try the food. Ecotourism, okay, people who travel because they want to experience nature, right? Coastal tourism, okay, people want to go on the coast at the sea. I'm a little bit against those categories because the more I study tourism, especially from a sociological perspective, I can tell you that everything can become a niche. I just taught a class at UNLV 3 hours ago on dark tourism. One of my main areas is dark tourism, which is death-related tourism, meaning that even the house of a serial killer that became famous is a tourist attraction.
Wow.
One of my main areas of research in Hollywood that I still love, probably one of my favorites, is Hollywood cemeteries. So I spent hours in front of Michael Jackson's grave and Marilyn Monroe graves and Elizabeth Taylor grave to see why tourists cross the ocean to come and see their favorite star who is buried.
Hmm.
Even a cemetery, even the house where a horrible murder happened, tourists pay money for that. That's a niche. I'm studying film tourism. The house of Breaking Bad in New Mexico is a normal house. The people in the neighborhood are so tired of tourists. So everything can become a tourist. So think in terms of niche, because like we have space tourism right now. I'm seeing, like, this is one of my passions, exploring new, a paper that I would love to write when it comes to the Historic Westside is the role of celebrity tourism. We spoke about, what is the crazy role of celebrities that have here. When we interview people in the Historic Westside, for them, cultural tourism is the story of the Harrison house, of the celebrity who went there. Celebrity tourism is one of my favorite topics. I mean, in LA, people pay to go around and see the houses of the star. So niche tourism not only can be more sustainable because it's small numbers, but higher quality. So the money is the same, but we prefer that amount of money for 50 people rather than the same amount of money for 1,000 not respectful people, okay? So I would love to, and now I'm done talking, and I would love to have more like an interactive conversation. What do you think about the concept of niche? How can you apply the niche to what you do? Okay, and also if you have questions. Okay, so this is if you want, this is my email, and yeah, so I'm happy to talk about more. I can help you. As Elias know, I don't disappear. Okay, after this class, I'm often here, and I can help you to talk more if you want to talk about finding a niche, destination branding, research or similar case studies, communities-based strategies. That's my email. Send me an email and I will be happy to talk to you more, help you. I'm here, okay? I'm here to help you, of course. Hey!
Well, hi there.
Hey!
Boy, I'm really enjoying this so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing up the Harrison House. And it's been a real struggle for us to try to develop that attraction now that we know that it needs to be an attraction and not a destination on its own. And we have been trying to connect with the Pioneer Trail. So when we get all of these different stakeholders in the room, we don't really know how to move forward. So what are some steps that we can take as stakeholders once we know we're all attractions? What do we say to each other when we come together?
I think that the first step will be, and now we can talk more about it, but the first step is that what is the destination that you want to create? What is that? Is the Historic Westside?
Yes.
Is that, okay, so the goal, like, I will, like, good old blackboard, right on the blackboard, Historic Westside is our destination. And from there, try to see what every stakeholder can bring to the table. Don't be afraid of disagreement. There are always disagreements, of course, but it's important to get together, try to, give up something and gain in something at the same time, and have some concrete projects and timeline and talk about really what can you do. The main goal, I think the first step that you should talk about is how to brand the destination. Destination branding is fundamental. I told you, if I told you Tuscany, everyone knows what it is. If I tell you the Strip, if I go to Italy and I say the Strip, everyone knows the Strip, right? The destination. So you want a strong brand. It doesn't mean that you have the destination already, but whatever you have on that board that you wrote is your destination. Start thinking in
Say West Side, so many people. And it looks like it's dangerous. How do you remove the negativity and bring forth the positive things that are happening at your destination?
So absolutely, something that I studied a lot is that, surprisingly or not surprisingly, destinations are stigmatized and are victims of stereotypes as much as people. And this is something that I learned very early in my tourism studies. There are so many. So I told you I study film tourism, right? Film tourism. One of the regions that is more stigmatized in Italy, for example, is Sicily for mafia. The Godfather is an interesting movie, but Sicilian people are a little bit tired to have been for the past 50, 60 years the set of movies where everyone kills everyone. And I have people telling me, can I go to Sicily? Is that dangerous? I mean, Sicilian people are really. So their goal was to, how can we change that image? For example, they host some very interesting movies and TV shows that showed good food, beautiful landscapes. For example, they have this series, which is famous also in the US. Inspector Montalbano is a police inspector, very nice, so nothing to do with that Godfather image. He goes around, he eats good food, and he lives in a beautiful house on the beach. That house, that location, I'm thinking of you, became an Airbnb. And right now, if you want to stay there 1 year in advance, you have to book the room. Okay? So media is really powerful. We saw Usher for the Super Bowl. That was very interesting.
Yes.
I was like, wow. Okay, so that you have to think of branding but like including media, giving, and I'm not telling you the positive image of the destination, the real image of a destination, because it's a stereotype. So you don't have to fake anything.
Right.
Just be an authentic destination. What you see, marketing, videos, would be great to have some celebrities coming here.
Yeah.
So that like changing the image through marketing, through strategy and collaborations, collaborations.
That's very interesting. And I think one of the challenges too is, where does financing come? Where do the resources come from to make these things happen?
That's hard.
Yes.
That's hard. Of course, the more the better, because if you put together everyone's resource, is better. I would say grants are very important at the moment. Absolutely. Yes. And this is why I always suggest talking with institutions, having institutions at the table and understand possibilities. Because I see, as I told you, those two valleys in my hometown who didn't want to talk to each other, I mean, they were never successful in the end. I mean, they are doing better right now, but at the time, because of the lack of funding, right? They said if they got together as a destination, they were more likely to get funding, for sure. Okay. So you have to show that you are together, and stakeholders, in terms of private investors, is a little bit delicate. It's important to have private investors as long as you know they're not coming here to, as I say, colonize but having the interest of the community in mind. But no one is going to invest. It happened to me, a destination was asking for funding, and the people at the table were almost fighting among themselves.
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, no one will give money to these people.
Yeah.
So coalitions, like being,
Well, with that, what kind of communication tools are there to bring stakeholders together so that they can understand how to talk to each other, what questions to ask? Is there like some tool that we can use
we can
to
talk
bring in stakeholders together?
Yeah, we can talk more about that if you want
Yes,
together.
yes,
Me and
yes,
you,
yes.
I have some ideas, some
Okay,
theories. We can
great.
also go through. I love to go through research, for example. If
Yeah.
you want, if you tell me that you have this issue, we can meet and I can go through also academic papers that research other case studies that are similar and see what they did. For example, my suggestion lately is always look at other destinations.
Okay.
Other destinations. I work with, so my students always have to do a final paper on tourism, a case study, like whatever, and tourism in development. And they come to me and say, oh, I would like to do research on this destination, but I can't find anything. I don't know. I would like to write a paper on sustainability in the park behind my house, but I can't find anything online on the park behind my house. Well, find a similar park that was successful and use that data to project yours. So research to me is fundamental. To understand what others did is fundamental.
Okay. And I think one challenge is not knowing how far to go. So if you have an attraction, do you want to own your own bus company to bring the people there? Or do you want to partner with the bus company? Do you want to be able to sell the ticket yourself, or should someone else sell your ticket? How do you know the scope of your project?
I'm curious to hear what Elias think here, because I'm seeing both a strong trend in outsourcing. Like, for example, right now I'm seeing like in hotels before, hotels before were having everything in-house. So housekeeping was part of the communication. And now I'm seeing, especially like in hotel chains, they are like outsourcing. So they are collaborating all together. But I'm also seeing a trend on the opposite too, right? Increasingly, companies, for example, when it comes to marketing, I'm seeing that increasingly companies prefer to have their own marketing office in-house rather than outsourcing. So I think it's a little bit both collaborations. Don't, yeah.
Quick reactions, and you might need to repeat this for the audio if the audio is not loud enough, my voice is not loud enough. But it's opportunity cost versus like margin. And some companies, really big companies like MGM, when they were growing, would do vertical integration, meaning we're going to absorb as much as we can, do it ourselves. But that was because they were playing at a whole nother game. They sold all of their properties for like $10 billion to BlackRock or something like that. So they did that purposefully to show that they had a larger top line so they could sell. So I would say in most cases, it's too high of an opportunity cost, and it's better to partner with good people than it is to try and do every single part of the business, unless if you're big enough like MGM to be able to pay the opportunity cost for doing it.
This is exactly what I was like. Opportunity cost is what guides you, right? I mean, and I think the collaboration, especially at the initial stage, is fundamental.
Yes.
And it's good.
We have one more guest for the hot seat. Real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry if I don't have the answers to everything. It's a very complex topic.
But the answers you've given us already is
Okay,
wonderful.
thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
so
thank-
much. I enjoy being in the hot seat.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go around the corner right now.
It's such a, I mean, there is no right or wrong answer, and it's so complex, and every case is different. So yes, this topic is. Hey, hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Shamoya. And I have I'm starting a concierge business. And I just wanted a little advice. I was kind of intrigued on what you were talking about, because I'm like a researcher. I like to research stuff. So I got my hands in a little bit of everything. And my approach with it was really like, I want to be the middle person. I want to be able to have all the connections to what everybody needs. So you come to Vegas and you need a babysitter, or you need tickets to this, or you need your hair done. My company will provide those services.
Amazing.
No matter what it is. Call me. It'll be to you at a certain amount of time where you need it at your price. So I want to know your advice to where to start.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, question: I'm not familiar with. I mean, I understand the concierge, but are you the only one offering this in Vegas, or there are others?
I'm just really getting deep in research. It is, but not to the extent to where I'm trying to provide it, because I'm trying to provide everything.
So,
to whatever it is, research. If you need an attorney, or if you need someone to come advocate on your behalf, to learn your rights, so on and so forth.
So, two things come to my mind. The first one: do your research and find your niche. What is different from you? And of course, Elias will agree. Use social media. So use social media a lot, and become the expert for that activity. The second thing, that this is a funny story, is an interesting story. So I started studying tourism at the university in a moment in which the first OLTA, meaning OLTA, online travel agencies, were taking place, where you could go online and book your flight and your hotel and everything. And all the physical travel agents were going crazy. They were like, oh, we're gonna close, right? Oh, it's gonna be, we're done forever. We're gonna lose all the money.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, the answer was very easy. Guess who survived among those travel agents? Of course, the one who did not make it were the travel agents, where travel agents, young people here, do you know what a travel agent is? Yeah. Travel agents, you were going there and you say, hey, I want to go to Paris for a week, leaving from Vegas. This is the date. They were planning for a fee. They were planning for you the trip, right? So, and they were saying, no, we're going to be bankrupt. It's going to be a nightmare. The people who did not make it and lose against the machine were those travel agents that you say, okay, hey, I would like to go to Paris for a week. And they will say, okay, this is the catalog. Look through it and let me know what you choose. That's something that was it. But the travel agent, and I think this is what you're doing, that even if you were on the other side of the world, on another time zone, you call at 2 a.m. and say, hey, I think I broke my leg. What can I do? I don't speak the language. Can you find a hospital here? I don't know what to do. Because tourists, even if they like a lot these, they love to travel, they love to be brave, they're also in a very weak position. You're on the other side of the world sometimes. So they really like that the idea of having trust and feeling confident, safe, and these are the travel agents that were able to not win over, but cooperate with all the online system. We have mixed now, but so I think that what you are doing is a comeback of that service, which is very good, because I come here and say, hey, I need an attorney. What can I do? Right? So that is finding your niche. I think I will play on that safety, that idea of feeling, secure, that I have a person that means that sometimes you should maybe hire someone that's otherwise they call you at 2 a.m.
Yeah, and actually
Vegas tourist.
Actually, what I want to do is I'll build a team as well to help me.
Exactly.
Because I want to also bring in businesses in different countries, in different cities, different towns that will work together with me. Like, hey, we can all make a profit from this and work together where you're at with me to provide these services for everybody. So everybody wins, not just me, but everybody wins, because we can negotiate prices and differences amongst each other to make it work for everybody. So that's my whole goal, to make it work for everybody, but build a team in each place where we're working together.
That's great, because you build several niches in that way based on the expertise of everyone. For example, one of the big trends right now that you mentioned is the family-friendly vacation, with people going on. Right now, people go on vacation and several parents look for places that have childcare so they can relax a little bit. So having like an approved babysitter with a certificate that can help you, that will be amazing, for example.
So they will feel comfortable coming, like, okay, I got a major event or I got a show.
Exactly.
Where can I take my kids where I know they'll be safe? I know if something happens, they have emergency.
Exactly.
I will be able to accomplish my goal and be satisfied and feel comfortable in doing so.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's very interesting. Work on that sense of safety that the tourists want to. Yeah. But again, if you want to talk more with me, we can talk absolutely whenever you want.
Thank you. Thank you. Sure. It was nice speaking with you.
Absolutely. Great idea.
Absolutely.
We got 2 more people who want to speak to you.
I'm sorry, I never have precise answers to everything.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Yatira.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I'm just an entrepreneur. My name is Shatira again, and I'm just here to take some classes on a beginning to develop a business. But as you were talking, it came into my mind. So we're in Vegas, right? And especially in the West Side. So if I wanted to have a business here in the West Side, and we were talking about stigma. So a lot of people won't think like, oh, I don't want to open a business in this side of the town because, like what we're talking right now. What would you think that will the tourists change the perspective if you open a new business in the West Side? And what do you think I should be focused if I do become an opening a regular business? What it will be the tools that I need to attract those tourists?
Well, can I ask what's your business?
Well, right now, like I've been coming over here, I've been working on get my niche, and especially like I'm a baker and I have a lot of restaurant experience, but I've been also doing drop shipping and selling in internet with the power of the tools of the internet. But I want to become where I'm familiar with. I've been working in the restaurant service for 17 years already. So as I'm becoming here and taking more classes, I've been like looking at like catering service. It will be a good size for, especially for tourists here in Vegas. But you don't want to open a same place close to the street because it will not be affordable for my starting process. But here in the West Side, probably will be a good idea. But since I was hearing you guys talking about the stigma and everything, how will you attract these people to come? Like if you want to get a catering and come to you, what will be the tools that I need to?
I mean, the key again, I don't think that one single person can change that stigma.
Right.
It's about what is called destination branding again, the branding of the destination, which is that label that, that label that is, we can also talk about the hashtag of the destination. Like, so what is the image? What is the brand associated with that destination? It's something that you can only build together with other people. So my suggestion is, when you decide what your niche is, get together with other people. And we are kind of already doing that, right? A little bit like creating, so we can talk more about it all together too. Go all together. And your main objective of all of you entrepreneurs is, okay, we're gonna change the image of this destination. Look what happened at Grits Cafe. They hosted a YouTube influencer, and they got millions views, and now everyone is like, yeah, and got a crazy advertisement just because, use social media. So right now you have the opportunity to show your own image through social media.
Through social media.
Tell your story.
Right.
The real image.
So you think like if I wanted to be like, let's say, a catering business, we'll be partnered up with like chapels, like partnership like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, think big. I love creativity, okay? So think big. You can partner with someone that you can think superficially has nothing to do with you. But then in the end, they have.
Okay.
Yeah, think creative. And you can, I mean, I'm really like, yes.
Oh, well, I was just going to throw a creative idea into the mix. An example would be baking a cake that looked like a Formula One car during Formula One week, or like cupcakes that look like the F1 cars. Just because then you can kind of, there's trend hopping. And trend hopping is used as like, oh, it's bad to trend hop. It's not bad to trend hop. It's great to hop on the trends because you can get that, better opportunity. And so I'll just throw in a creative idea.
No, absolutely. Yes. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So one other question. So Vegas is known for the tourism, like you said. But like, what is the opportunities that tourists has to open to other small business? Do you think that the tourists open to any kind of business? Like they will reach out to the big hotels, but they will work for or go look for small places too?
That's kind of our goals, right? The goal of the Tourism Business Igniter is not only to create some form of tourism in the historic Westside, but also to connect the business in the Westside to the big hotels in the street. So that's about a dialogue, back and forth there. There are obstacles for sure. It's not easy, but we are trying to do that. And right now, I mean, COVID taught us that depending on a single economy, such as tourism, is not good. You have to diversify, because think of those destinations, such as Nevada too, who during COVID only relied on tourism. Think of an island that always relied on tourism. When the tourists stopped like flying, they were done. It was very bad. So it's important to diversify the economy, and this is something that I think that Vegas is really good at doing lately. We're talking about having movie studios here, more healthcare facilities here. We have the sports industry. So the economy of Las Vegas is diversifying itself. And I don't agree with people who say we only have to diversify beyond tourism because we have already tourism. I believe in the people who say we have to diversify also within tourism. So you represent your niche, your opportunity,
Right.
And increasingly, we are seeing that niche tourism is becoming important. I am conducting research on outdoor recreation in Southern Nevada, people hiking in Red Rock Canyon, for example, and I discovered that there is what we call in sociology a subculture, a bunch of people who come here, they go to Red Rock, they go to Boulder City, they don't even see the strip. A bunch of them.
Wow.
So that's strip tourism, which is still very important. Look at the arts district. There is no gambling in the art district. You know, so there is hope for sure. You just have to learn, to study, to do research in other destinations too, and see. But there is a way to diversify, to bring those two, maybe not immediately, but there is a diversification process in place in Vegas.
Oh, that's good to hear. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for answering the
Sure,
question.
sure, thank you. You have a question?
Yeah, well, I just kind of had a comment to what she was saying, and kind of a little bit of encouragement from what I've been researching. Like, I know when I was growing up in the 90s and stuff like, because I was born in the 80s, I know like the strip down, you know, it was the place to be.
Yeah.
But more so now, what I'm learning, a lot of people now that has been here and that's coming here, the downtown is better to them now. Like, we're getting more business downtown than we ever have now since 2000 and COVID and everything opening back up, and them starting to bring more business or looking into rebuilding the West Side, because you go downtown sometimes and it's packed like on the weekends, and that's usually how the strip look. And you go to the strip and there's really nobody down there, and they're like, okay, now it's getting nicer down there. It's better prices for the same thing that we're getting on the strip, you know. So, you know, be encouraged that, you know, I kind of be optimistic about it and try to like you said, research and see that now it's starting to come back around. Like, so you can bring just your small business to a small place and get the same business as the strip, but it's just a way of doing
I mean, I think if I told you people living in Vegas 5 years ago that we were hosting the Super Bowl.
Right. No.
I mean, no way, right? That like, no way. But so, this is why I like to think, always have to make the effort to think outside of the box. Tourism development as a creative process or business development.
And networking is a big thing too, like getting out, speaking to people, being on social media, reaching out to different groups. You know, you see a small business, come up with ideas and work together as a system. That's kind of how I approach it.
I mean, you want people to tell you, oh, you are that person who does that. They just see your face, they see your brand, and you are that niche. You are what you do that, right? So that's it. All right.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Mel Bryan, and I've been living here in Las Vegas for over 23 years, and I'm very excited. Number one, of the class that you just gave us, it was enlightenment and opened our eyes to a lot of other things. So then my question to you is the next: how do we brand the West Side and make it suitable to the point that we can make tourism love what they see, enjoy, and then think of Las Vegas not only of the strip, but says, okay, Las Vegas has culture, Las Vegas is tradition, let's go to the West Side. How do we brand that?
Absolutely. So something that I want to suggest to all of you is to look at the website of the so-called DMOs, which are Destination Management Organization. Some people call it Destination Marketing Organization. What is a DMO? A DMO is simply LVCVA, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitor Authority. So those websites that you see, such as vegas.com or Discover LA, right? Or Italia.it are those websites that promote the destination, that usually are connected to the visitors, the public visitor authority. Okay, those are the beating heart of destination branding. Guess what? Let's talk about LVCVA. LVCVA, a few years ago, came up with a little idea of using what happened here stays here.
In Vegas.
It became the most successful destination branding operations in history, together with the I Love New York and NY t-shirts, those two. So study those case studies, because this is what you want, okay? If you decide that your brand is the Historic Westside, and the hashtag is what stays here is Beyond the Strip. That's your identity. Brand identity it's all about that. Brand identity. As I told you, I go to Italy and I say what happens here stays here, and they say Las Vegas.
Mhm.
You want that. And that is still finding your niche, right? How do you want to differentiate yourself? Or instead, you can say, I don't want to differentiate myself from that. I want to be part of that. So you can open a conversation with LVCVA, which actually help us with the grant here that we have. I mean, not they help us with the grant, but I mean, there are collaborations in place for sure. So that's fundamental. So the DMOs are the one who are in charge of destination branding, and that is about your identity. And you cannot do that without a network of people all working together. So you want the hashtag, create your hashtag, and it's really about almost like the practical idea. You decide that your color is that one, and everything is that one. Every business in the Historic Westside has a sticker on their door with that color and that hashtag. And they, really like the branding, identity, marketing 101.
Okay.
That's it. This is what I studied a lot with. If you're interested, I propose Elias to have a class on film tourism if you want, because that's a very good example. Not because you have to learn about how to promote movies here, which will be interesting, absolutely, but it's a very interesting example. There are destinations, but all over the world, who no one knew about, who hosted one scene of one movie, and the day after the release of the movie, they had buses and buses of tourists overnight. Because that is identity. That the James Bond location. That's it.
Okay. Well, that answer that you just gave actually break the ice onto my next question, which was how do you get the community involved by breaking it? But by saying the movie will be a way of actually going social media, showing them that movie, just a glimpse of it, and then that will bring kind of like an icebreaker so they could understand, and then go door to door and then bring them in and creating a program where they can understand. And my next question to that, you said work as a team, work as a group. There is a stigma actually in that where communities don't come together because of all the things that had happened before in time. They promise things, they never fulfill. So they don't believe anyone when they come to that. So how do you break the ice on that?
Absolutely. This is one of our main research finding. As I always say, communities there is an issue with trust, broken promises. As I told you, it's easy to go to a community and say, okay, I'm going to build tourism here, and then don't do anything or don't do something the community wants. What I suggest is that, again, it will be great to find ways to promote bottom-up approaches where the community decides. What I'm finding all over the world, and I'm talking about case studies in Italy as well, if the community is fragmented, is a perfect excuse for institutions. Oh, why should we have a meeting with that community? It's going to be 2 hours meeting where everyone fights with each other, and we're just a waste of time. We just don't have that meeting. And that's a waste occasion. Instead, think if the same people, the same institutions go to a meeting and the community is there with a written proposal, with their ideas, with the brand, and this is our idea. We are all together. We are competitors. You saw that in the past we were fighting with each other. Yeah, maybe I still don't like this person, but on that idea, that's it. This is the idea. What do you think? And then you want to see if they say no. Because the community has something to do as the branding. It doesn't mean that they have to accept it. For example, I'm honest. I'm not a tourism planner. I mean, if I go to the city hall tomorrow or wherever I go, and I propose I have some technical things. There are some technical things that I don't know. But already it's a proposal, and they see a community together, strong with an idea, and there. And how do you put the community together at the same table? Again, getting together and showing that there are concrete projects. Set up a deadline, right? Set up a deadline. With the Jackson Street project, we say, okay, we're going to meet next Wednesday. Set that deadline. No, okay, one day we're going to meet to talk about that idea. No, when do you want to talk about it? Wednesday? Okay, Wednesday. And the day after that? Okay, in a week, we're going to meet again. What are we going to do during this week? You're going to do research on other DMOs, and I'm going to start writing a little bit of a draft of the project.
Perfect. Perfect. You answer all of my questions, all my concerns, and I'm very happy and thankful for your time.
Absolutely. It's a
Thank you
pleasure.
very
And again,
much.
I don't disappear. I'm constantly here.
Yes.
Elias can stand me anymore. No, I'm kidding. Elias is tired of me. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.